So normally I go from top to bottom so I don't smudge anything. I think I'm going to do the water next after a sip of wine. So look at the photograph you're referencing. You'll see the water up here in the horizon is just about white, and it gets darker as you come forward. It was very overcast, so this water is reflecting the overcast sky. So let's say I missed this when I drew, so I'm just going to throw a piling in. And pilings are cool because they're somewhat vertical. I'm just matching it to the top of this one, so it's about the same height. In the picture, it has a pointed part that goes past my water. So do I want to add that? I'm not going to add it. I'm going to go for a rustic dock, and I think I'm going to, as cool as this cone would be to draw, yeah, what the heck, I'll put it there. So for this cone, it looks kind of like a Crayola crayon. It's a cylinder, and this is going to go down and has a rounded top, and the same thing over here. And you can lay your pencil on the photograph like this and find out exactly what that angle is. And this one looks not as round because it was closer to my eye level when I shot, I guess, when I took the picture. Okay. All right, I like the crookedy pilings. This is awesome that it's crooked. All right, so you're going to end up with these things in the water that are just odd shapes. But before we do that, we're going to get all the water down, go back in with some waves, and do this, and then work on the dock and then the girl, saving the hardest for the last. All right, so I'll speed this up again. I'm going to just, let me see, use my lightest, which is my 3H, and go very, very light around these pilings. And you have to work across the whole top. And I can go right over that because it's going to end up being darker than the water. So I can go right over that. And the reason that's good is so you don't have lines going around it. I could just whoop, go right over. So go ahead, fill in your water. I'm going around her body because I have to leave a lot of whites in that. This is the 3H that I'm using. And I'm leaving areas of white. And the 3H is light enough that I can go back in and erase if I need to. I'm layering it right over the dock. Right over the dock, because the dock's going to be darker, so that's fine. All right. All right, and then it gets darker as we go down. So I'm going to use the same pencil. Gotta pick it up because I dropped it. I'm going to use the same pencil and just do another layer and start about here. I'm going to keep this light up here. And now I'm going more in large ovals. And then I'm like leaving, like doing things like this. I don't know how to explain what I'm doing. I'm just like not doing it solid like I did the sky, because there's a lot more texture to the water. And when I do these lines, you got to go, whatever you do here, you got to do here, because you need it to look realistic. And I'm getting darker as I go down. We'll end up getting rid of this line. You won't see it once we draw the dock, probably. Okay. And then now I'm going to look at, I kind of have to do the dock at the same time as the water now. And you're going to look at this and say what's darker, what's lighter out of the sky under her hand or the dock and her hand. Let's go into her hand now too. So I'm going to make the picture bigger. So I'm zoomed. I'll show you my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Oops. Okay. Have to flip this because it's upside down. Okay. So this is what I'm looking at. I have this big on my screen, and I'm even going to go bigger. And I'm looking at this area right here. And I'm looking at what's darker, the water or this? It's going to be this. What's darker, this or her bathing suit? This part of her bathing suit's very dark. And these I have lines going up and down. So I'm just going to start to draw this area. So zoom right in on your computer screen so it's large. And I will go back to my drawing and flip this so you can see it. Okay. So I'm working right here. Let me put this closer. All right. I don't know if I can zoom in even closer on this. I will try. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. So I'm using my 3H because it's better to start light and get darker. And I'm just going to do this dock. I'm not pushing down hard. I have a rope here. Let me draw that rope. It's kind of a shape like that, and this overlaps. So it's like a V. And this one goes around the piling. So I'm just going to erase the piling. And I have a really cool eraser. Let me grab it. Okay, this eraser is called the Mono Zero. And it's a retractable eraser. And the tip of it is like, it's round. They sell rectangle and round ones. This is such a great tool because I can go into very tiny areas and erase. But if you just have a regular eraser, you can use a sharp corner of it. If you don't have a sharp corner, you can cut a sliver off and use that. Okay. So now to make this rope stand out, I'm going to make the dock much darker. So I'm layering my 3H and I'm going to grab a darker. I'll go back to the 2B. If I can find it, go back to the 2B. And the rope actually has a dark spot right there. And it's where there's a crack there in the, I'm just going to do another crack here. Remember to make it go across so it matches. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it's rustic wood. That's the awesome thing about docks. And this is, again, this is a 2B. And I'm just using it softly here. And I'm not doing this continuous either. I'm gradually lifting it up more, doing it darker or lighter. I'm just going across so I can look and see what this... I'm looking at the photo at the left side to see what the piling does over here. It goes like this and like this. And just get the edge of that piling in. Okay, so there's that side of the dock. Now I'll go back over here and we'll really work on this. And all I'm going to do here is exactly match the all the grays in this area. There's probably like 20 grays in that area. I'm going to see if I can improve my light here by turning a lamp on, I don't know, or opening a curtain. I have a lot of good natural light. So I might as well use it. Yeah, it still looks pretty dark. Let's see. I don't know if that helped. Might have made it more yellow. All right, so let's see what I have. I keep looking at the video for you instead of my drawing or the photograph. Okay. So the piling is dark and that's what makes the rope show up. So I'm just going to go over this with the 2B up to the rope, leave the rope white. And I'm intentionally not doing circles because circles would go into that tooth. And if I just brush lightly, the deeper areas of the paper will stay white because the graphite isn't going down into those. And that gives me a nice texture on this piling. All right, so when I look at this piling, it was overcast. I'm going to do the rope that's up here too. And let's see. This rope goes something like this, and then there's like a knot. It's probably higher up. But you know what? It doesn't have to be exact. I just want the direction of the rope correct. And there's a knot, and then this goes up to her wrist about. I think these are zip ties on the dock, but I'm gonna leave those out. And then for the top of the piling, I'm going to, since this is covered with a cone and I'm not drawing the cone, I'm going to look at what the other one does. Okay, I don't see the top because it's above my eye level. So I'm just going to make the top like that and get rid of this line I drew, thinking I saw the top. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna erase the rope. So it's white again. And then it's darker under the rope than it is above the rope. So now I'm going in tiny circles to fill in the little divots. And I'm going to do right under the rope even darker. So now I'm picking up the pencil a little bit. So the point, I'm not pushing hard, but the point is going into those divots. And then the same thing happens under this rope. And even under that rope a bit. I have some shading This rope needs to go past the piling. And then I could darken my water so that rope stands out. But whatever I do to my water here, I gotta do here. And I'll just make like that its own little wavy thing. And that might not, that's not even in the picture. I'm just doing it so this stands out. All right. So I will eventually work back into this and fine tune it and make it darker, but I'm going to leave it just like that for now. I'm going to raise the camera so you can see my whole paper now. Okay. So now let's tackle this piling. It's got some funky ropes, doesn't it? This has dark ropes. So you have to make an executive decision. Do you want it to match this rope, or do you want to go ahead and make it dark? And I think I'm going to go ahead and make it dark. This must be like a black or a blue rope. So this I didn't trace when I did I kind of did these knots. Those are going to be ridiculous. I think I might add a picture for you to look at where I lighten this up, in the photograph so you could see it better. So I'm going to pause the video, bring this into a program where I can lighten up those ropes so I can see what's in those dark details. Okay, so I lightened up the picture and I'm calling it Frankie Doc to draw trees. And so it's for this rope too. So I lightened up the trees and the rope. So look at that picture now, and we're just looking at this. And you can zoom right in. All right. Very cool. So now we can even see splits in the wood. And you have to have a sharp pencil. I'm using a 2B. I'm going to draw these cylinders where the rope is. And if you don't want to try this rope, you don't have to, because it's really complicated knots. Really complicated knots. It almost looks like a chain link. My lines aren't matching up exactly, but I want some kind of texture there. Let's see if I can get closer to what I'm doing. There we go. All right. It's like I'm going to erase this and do it better. It's hard to erase the 2B. I should be drawing this out with the 3H or a harder pencil. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to have 5 of these. 1. And it's important to note they go past that. 2, 3, 4, 5. And they kind of go up. So I have 5 of those. I'm not going to do the white string. This goes about to the second one, and it's kind of a shape like that. And then maybe I'll do all these first. 1. I don't know. I don't even know where to start with this. It's like a backwards C. And then another one's here. And this one, I don't even know. I like feel like I can't even follow this. I'm just gonna this goes in and out like a U. And has this. And where's my eraser? Then I have one going this way. It's just kind of a shape like that. That's what it is. It's like a tooth. It's like an oval and two things going off. That's all it is. You just can't see that on the top one because the direction it is. So I just have 3 ovals, and then each oval has 2 things coming off it. And then something like this at the top. All right, so now to make this rope stand out, I need to do the same thing. I'm gonna look right here. What's darker, the piling or the water? The piling. What's darker, this rope or the piling? The piling. So I'm just gonna do this dark. And this is just my 3H, keeping my lines vertical because there's a lot of vertical texture here, some splits in the wood. And make my piling kind of light, like it looks in the second picture. And I'll end up going darker with this and going back to my first picture. I just have this to do the rope. So each one of these is its own cylinder laying on its side. So if you really zoom in, I'm not going to worry about the texture that's on the rope, but I am going to do the lights and darks. And we have a light line that I will just erase with the eraser. And then there's a very light gray that goes across. And then a darker gray that goes across. And then a really dark gray where the shadow is. I need to sharpen this. You got to keep these sharp for these little areas like this. And then I see that this is also darker than my rope. So now I'm going to go in there dark. My rope is going to go past the piling. What's the top of my piling doing? Kind of goes like this. And this has to go out past the piling as well. All right, so there's my top rope. And now I'm just going to repeat that with each of them. So I'm going to do, keep the top light, keep it white, do a light gray, and a dark gray. And I might end up with a different number of rope things, and that's okay. Because no one's going to know what really was on that dock. And when you're working with a small 8x10 drawing like this, I think it's I'm using my whole paper that's 9x12, I think. And then these things are going to be interesting. So they get darker at the bottom, and I'm just making lighter lines as I go up. And all right, and then I'm going to go back and shade in with this, just above those black lines, and try to keep a little bit of white above each one. All right. And my piling looks like it's darker here. And it has some dark things that come down here. They don't have to be exactly where mine are. What you don't want is an outline here. You want the value difference from your piling to the water to be your edge, not a line. Same thing here, the piling's darker here. And I think I'm going to keep it about like that. And then where this is, and this is, I'm going to use a dark pencil. Just make it very dark there. And I'll get rid of that bottom rope I did to have some darkness there. And then I'll start to go get some of these sideways lines in. I want these ropes to really pop. And the ropes are darker than my piling, but I'm going to make the decision to keep them lighter and make my piling darker. And now I'm going to use HB, which is softer than the 4H. And I'm using this to darken in this piling. Whatever I do down here, I got to do up here, or else it'll look like the top doesn't belong to it. I'm going to go over to, here, let me back this up so you can see both of the pilings. All right, so now that I did the rope, I'm actually going to go back to my other, or maybe I'll keep this, we'll keep this one and we'll do the trees right now. So let me look at the other piling on my first picture. All right, this one doesn't show as much texture because it was out of focus in the picture. So I'm just darkening in with my HB, everything except the rope. And remember, I'm making this up here, make it irregular. And the piling's a cylinder, so whatever it does up here, it needs to do here and here if the light's hitting it the same way. Darker dock down here so this rope shows up. And now I need to see where, oh, I don't see the edge of the cylinder because it's hidden by the ropes. Going to do that, and I'm going to move the edge of this. Let's see. No, I should really have it there, shouldn't I? It's going to go there. Okay, so I'm going to darken this. And then where the bottom of this rope is, it's going to be so dark. Just grabbing a 4B. You could use any dark pencil. Soft. I'm going to do underneath here. There's really not this much sunshine in the drawing, so I'm choosing to make these shadows more pronounced than they are. Make some splits in the wood. And I'm not even looking at the picture for this. I'm just deciding I want to make some darker areas. Do something here. Okay. And in the picture, this edge is darker than the rest of the cylinder, so I'm just gonna make that. Oh, I drew here and I shouldn't have because that was my rope. I could change my rope edge. I can make that rope come out a little further. And then draw my water around the rope because I don't want to see an outline there. You're just drawing the water so you see that the rope shows up more. I'm going in with HB so it's a little bit darker. There we go, so you can see it. Remember I said you have to go all the way across with it, whatever that tone is. Doesn't have to line up exactly because the water's like wavy and stuff, so. And I have to look at the picture to see her hand. All right, her hand is very dark in this, just because how the picture is processed. So I'm just doing the water right now. And I'll just throw her hand in. So I have something here for value. This is her elbow. All right,